The only drawback to using tiles like this is they tend to twist when you take them off. So try and do it carefully. Now we use this grid to align and you just gently move it over until I've got the stagger the way I want it. There's a little bit of wastage with these. It's not too bad since I make my own, so I can make as much as I want. So this is just for the little section over here. It's a little like lean-to building. It's easier to tile it before it's fixed on. Which is what I'm doing now. It shouldn't take too long. So I've got some etched base pieces that I did. Originally I was going to use these as the actual roof. It's got a nice bit of detail to it and it paints up quite well, but I just wanted the extra effect of the relief that actual tiles produce. So I'm gluing some strips of laser cut tiles on self-adhesive paper over the top of it, and the base just basically helps me align it. I can't believe when I first started making realistic looking models that I used to do all the tiles one by one out of little bits of paper, gluing them down with PVA glue. Now I could use another strip again, but it's just easier using more strips, oversized strips, and then trimming them off at the end, rather than having to faff around with trying to butt existing pieces together. Just try to ensure there's a consistent stagger between the tiles as you go along. I'll probably just live stream the tiling part and then I'll move on to something else. It's one of those days today. No, I've got enough. Sometimes when it peels off, it just tends to rip and leaves a load behind, which this one has done, but oops. I think if I move it on enough, I've just got enough left over on this one to do a full row. And there we go. Before I get too much and too unwieldy, I'll just flip it over and cut the excess off. This is the underside, which is not going to be seen, but I've given it a rough wash of black to like represent a weathered grey effect. So once all these rows are complete, I can then give it a coat of grey paint for the tiles, give it a dark black wash. You can't really have a light black wash, can you? Give it a wash of black, oil wash, and then I can dry brush with some lighter greys to give it a more weathered and random appearance. There's an awful lot of tiling throughout this building, and this is the last little bit. It is quite fun. It's tedious, but it's fun. Just seeing it slowly build up. So this is just some straightforward self-adhesive paper sheets, that the type that you'd buy to print postage labels on, perhaps, if you were sending out parcels and wanted to print your own labels. They're just basically A4 sheets of self-adhesive paper, and then I've just laser cut the tile pattern that I require onto the sheets, and I'll just drag that off the table, haven't I? It's sticky. That's with not trimming the excess off. So, I mean, you could, if you didn't have a laser cutter, use a Cricut. Oops, sorry for the camera knock. Or you could, if you had plenty of time and patience, cut your own with a scalpel or a craft knife. But it would take days and days and days to do that. But if you're into cutting tiny little bits of paper, then it could be quite therapeutic. But anyway, that's my process. I take advantage of my laser cutter wherever I can to help the process. Ever since I got it, I've found multiple uses. I'll be forever finding little bits of sticky tile all over the floor, stuck to my shoes. All sorts of places you find strange bits of crafting materials around the house. Ow. Stabbed myself by accident. Not too bad that it's going to bleed everywhere though. You've got to be really careful when you're using scalpels. It helps if you put it down while you're not actually using it. I think I might have underestimated the amount of tile pieces I need for this, and I've only done one sheet, but it might need a second, in which case I will have to stop and go and set the laser printer off again. See how far I can get with what I've got. These are really sort of close together tiles, so you do need a lot. Just do a bit more excess trimming. So it's all stuck to my fingers. Get this off. Parcel at the door. I'm going to end up wasting a piece of tile now because I'd already pulled that off and had to go and answer the door. Right, I've got 2 more strips left, I think, on this. some more. Ah, that one's torn as well. Typical. Last one I had and it's ruined. Right, I'm just going to have to break now because I need to cut myself some more. So, a very slow process, but slowly we'll get there.